full name and let me know who you're representing here today, whether you're the applicant, the owner, neighboring property owner, or someone else connected to the project in some way. So we'll start with, looks like an individual on an iPhone in the purple shirt. You could unmute for me. I cannot hear it. There we go.
Terry Inman, president of Inman Construction Incorporated.
Great. And is there someone else there with you?
Yes.
That's going to be testifying at all?
This is Angie.
Angela Inman Custom Homes.
Okay, great. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
And I see we have Emily A. House, the zoning administrator for the city. Welcome, Emily.
Good afternoon.
And Tiffany. Hello.
Yeah, my name is Tiffany Powers. I reside at 2461 Riverside Drive.
Okay, great. Welcome.
Thank you.
And on the applicant owner side, are we expecting anyone else to join us here today before we get started?
My aunt, who also lives right next to the property in question, that she's having difficulties trying to join the Zoom meeting.
Okay.
But she also provided a written statement and email.
Okay, great. Is
Her
that
name is Joan Powers.
okay? Got it. All right. Oh, here we go. Speak of the devil. That's great. She will be able to join us as well. Let me just bring her in and get her checked in really quickly and we'll get started. Hopefully bring her in. Just trying to admit her. It says she's joining now. We'll just give it one. There we go. All right. Ms. Powers, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Or, I'm sorry. You
Sorry.
might be talking to Tiffany Powers. Yeah.
Ms. Joan Powers. If you're with us, if you could unmute, trying to prompt you to do that on my end. The mute button in these applications is typically down to the left, the bottom left of the application. It's a little microphone image. Might also help if we could start, you could start your video. Let's see. Sorry, folks, just one minute. I'm just going to take one quick break here. Sorry, folks. I'm going to try to contact her, see if we can get this working very quickly. If not, we'll get started in just a minute.
Do you remember this part right here?
What?
All right. Unfortunately, the phone number that she provided on her registration is not working, or it's saying that it's busy.
Would that be the 888 number?
That's correct.
I'm
So,
not
Tiffany, I need to go through our hearing script with our procedures. If you would like to try to reach out to her and help her troubleshoot any of those issues or invite her to your home to participate, that is fine. But Otherwise, I think we have to proceed.
Oh, I could walk over there. It would take like 3 minutes.
That's fine with me. I'm
Okay.
happy to do that.
I appreciate that.
And no problem. I'll just keep you on mute until then.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
thank
go
you.
through the hearing procedure, and anything you miss, I can fill you in. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I need to read through our hearing script. This is just going to cover the procedure for the hearing. Then we'll begin. So this is the November 19th, 2025 session of the zoning hearing examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, I'm the zoning hearing examiner for the city. I'll be presiding over the hearing today. The case before us today is case number ZH20250118. That is 2459 Riverside Drive. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any other parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence and testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the zoning hearing examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any other party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. For our purposes here today, that will be Angela and Terry Inman. I'll give you each an opportunity to tell me about the project, what exactly it is you're proposing, the zoning relief that you're requesting in order to complete the project, and then of course why you believe the zoning relief is appropriate and should be approved. And then anything else you think is important to share with me today before I make my decision. I'll then move it to the public. Sounds like we'll have at least one public participant today, so I'll allow Ms. Powers and maybe Ms. Tiffany Powers and maybe Ms. Joan Powers to provide any testimony that they would like. I will then move to the zoning department, and I'll allow Emily Ahouse if she would like to provide any testimony in addition to the staff report that she's prepared. I'll give her that opportunity after the public has had
Unmute
their
that
chance
and
to
we'll start
present.
that. You're good.
Okay, all right. Looks like we've got it. Okay, I will, after the public and Emily Ahouse have had had an opportunity to provide any testimony, I will then turn it back to the applicant. And in the event that there's any testimony in opposition to this application, you'll have an opportunity to respond to that testimony that was offered in opposition to the amendments. And then you'll have an opportunity, the applicants will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt any speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. In the event of any technical difficulties, which we're already kind of experiencing here, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those issues on the fly. But to the extent there's a defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with this hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, the last thing I need to do here is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, making any comments, asking any questions, really doing anything other than just strictly observing, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So I'm going to do that now collectively for everyone that intends on testifying. So to the admins, if I could just get both of you in the screen there and ask everyone to unmute. Again, it looks like the powers are unmuted. But if I could ask the admins as well, I need everyone to raise their right hand and to answer out loud. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
We do.
Okay, and let me, thank you. Okay, looks like we're having some issues here. I apologize, folks. So let me mute one of these screens here. Okay, and Joan Powers, are you with us here?
Yes,
Okay, great. And you are a neighboring property owner, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, great. And would you like to provide any testimony here today, or are you just here to observe?
I think just to observe, not sure.
Okay, great. Well, yeah, if you'd like to provide some testimony later, that's fine. We can get you sworn in at that time.
Okay.
And then I'll ask Tiffany Powers. Tiffany, if you're with us, I think you're losing some connectivity wherever you are. I don't know if your phone's still trying to get
Yeah,
on
I'm
the
gonna
old
try to
Wi-Fi.
walk out to the front of the house. So I'm lagging a little bit. Okay, I do apologize. Yeah, I'm experiencing a little lag because I had to change locations.
Yeah, that's no problem. You may just still be trying to draw from the Wi-Fi at the other house and it's just too far away. All right, let's go ahead and start with the applicant's presentation and we can cover Tiffany, you can also just sit there with Joan and just go on the same screen as well.
I'll just say, go ahead. There you go. There's the-
There we go. All right, great. All right, to the Inmans, sorry for the delay. Please, if you're ready, the floor is yours if you'd like to tell us about the project.
Sure, no problem. So 2459 is one of 23 lots that are in the 2400 block. 19 of the homes in the 2400 block are Inman homes, new homes that have been built in the last several years. River's Edge Development is a 13-home gated community, front yard setbacks averaging 75 feet. To the east of 2459 is Eden Phase 1 and 2. They have front yard setbacks in excess of 60 feet. So the proposed build site at 2459 zoning did the averaging on the existing homes, and we came up with a front yard setback at 6 feet. Our clients have an elderly father on a walker, and they wanted a setback deep enough where they could have 2-car parking in the front for accessibility. Our original proposal, we were asking for a 46-foot setback, and working through zoning with Emily, we ended up where we're at today with a 21-foot setback. I feel that, majority of the homes that are in this block do have significant setbacks to acquire what we're trying to acquire here. Zoning has been very courteous to us. They met us on site, and here we are today. Our original proposal was a 46-foot setback, which would have shoved us back far enough that we wouldn't be between the two older homes that are there. So we're hoping, because the majority of the homes in this area that we have built have the similar setbacks that we need for this build, that we will be granted this variance. I think that's pretty much it. There was some mention of excess soil on 2459, which was a result of the geotech boring spoils, which will be removed. There is nothing in this build that will touch either of the Powers homes. There will be 2 retaining walls to the east and west. Their foundations will not be touched by this build, and we will control front yard water runoff with a series of catch basins. In no way do we want to offend the Powers family. They are decent folks, and we will work with them to make sure that there's no negative water runoff that would affect their homes. Keeping in mind, we are in the 100-year flood zone. These older structures have experienced way more floods than obviously the new homes, and we are sensitive to that. So we will respect their property totally and advise them if there's any problems that are that we see. But we are reputable builders, and anyone that has seen our subdivisions we've done down here, we have very high standards, and we are concerned about the residents that have been here for a generation or so. And that's where we're at right now, just hoping that we can work through this. I guess that's about it.
Okay, so just to be clear, one piece of relief that you're asking for today is the setback, which is the distance from the home to the street. And
Riverside Drive.
Along Callahan. Is it along Callahan?
Well, the front yard setback that we're asking for is on Riverside Drive.
Okay, so based on what I'm seeing here, you have sort of a double frontage.
We do.
So
This lot
so
is a total 52 feet of frontage. Excuse me. The average width of these lots are around 25 feet. That's what we're used to building on, with a minimum between the buildings of 6 feet. This build on the west side will be 20 feet away from existing foundation and over 6 feet on the east side. So this will not interfere with the older properties that are already there.
So let me ask you, what is the distance or what is the setback you're proposing from the home to Callahan Street?
It was originally 20, but I think now we're at like 35
Okay.
with the newest site plan.
Okay. In the staff report, I'm seeing 37.9 feet. Is that
That sounds right.
okay? And what is the distance in the on the Riverside Drive?
What we're asking for now, 21.
Okay.
Originally, we were asking for 46. That would have been better, but with working with zoning, that's where we're at now.
Okay. All right. And I'm showing that the setback requirement for Callahan, based on the average of abutting homes on either side, is 71 feet.
That is correct.
That's the requirement. Okay. And so let's see. Do you anticipate any adverse effects for neighboring properties as a result of the reduced setback?
No, excuse me. No, there's no adverse. I mean, anything and everything we've done down here has only increased property value. I can't imagine what the adverse part of this would be, and I think there's probably some comments from zoning that hopefully may back that up. Okay. Once again, I know we're in an awkward situation with these older homes, but at the same time, this whole area is redeveloping, and the majority of the new homes have significant setbacks. And really the 2459 is part of the same old development or subdivision that River's Edge and Eden was built in. I mean, it surprises me that the codes are so different on these 5 homes. Okay. It's right between both of the developments.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else you'd like to tell me right now?
I don't think so.
Okay. Let's go ahead then, and we'll move over to public comments. Tiffany, if you'd like to go ahead and start.
Yes, thank you. I'll be very brief.
If you wouldn't mind just moving the camera a little bit more so we can see more, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, as you know, I live at 2461 Riverside, which is directly next to the property and the zoning request. I have sent in a written statement, but I would like to stress the importance of zoning protections in flood-prone areas and those that protect older buildings. Since large amounts of fill dirt were added several months ago, I have experienced increased runoff toward my home, soil washing against my foundation, and new signs of shifting that were not present before. Also, I am concerned that riverbank trees and vegetation behind the site have been disappearing, and that Bayou and Callahan streets have been blocked on numerous occasions without permit or prior warning, both of which reflect a pattern of not following required procedures. Given these impacts, I respectfully ask rezoning be denied or at the very least, strong conditions be required to protect neighboring foundations, drainings, and riverbank stability.
Ms. Powers, do you have any concerns about where the home is proposed to be positioned once construction is complete and
Yes, mostly with everything that I just stated, with the soil runoff, the flooding, when the soil resettles. Yeah, I'm very concerned, honestly.
And the view is gonna be gone.
And not, I mean, not to mention that what this is gonna just do to my personal, property value. He'll be removing my entire view.
okay. Uh, could you say more about that? Do you just
Yeah,
get how
I have
far
a
back it is?
I have a great view right now of the entire riverbank curve. I can actually watch the evening fireworks from my back porch. It's a lovely view, and it's going to be my top selling point.
Got it. Okay, so are you the property to the west or to the east?
I am the one that's directly on Bayou and Riverside.
Got it. Okay. All right. So as you look east towards the downtown, or I'm sorry, as you look west towards the downtown and the river, you're saying this will obstruct your views of that
Oh,
and adversely affect.
absolutely. Mhm.
Okay.
No, it will not.
All
Yes,
right.
it does.
Yes,
Mr.
it
Inman,
will.
I'll give you 1 second. I'll give you a chance
Because
to respond, Mr. Inman, in a minute. And Miss Joan Powers, if you, I'm happy to hear some testimony from you, but we're going to need to get you sworn in and
okay,
get you
sorry.
on camera. No, it's fine. If you just want to raise your right hand, and Tiffany, if you could pass the phone over to her a little bit more.
Mhm.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you shall provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, great. What would you like to tell us?
Well, when he built the homes on the other side of me, it took my complete view of downtown away. He told me his exact words were, "You had the view long enough." Yeah, I have. I'll admit that. I've I've enjoyed every bit of it. But
That's not right.
it's also taking sunlight, daylight to dry our properties out more, because now we're sitting in a hole, and the flood water from where he's gonna build the home is gonna come more into my yard like it did these last times.
Mm.
It doesn't spread out, it forces it into our yards, because the property on now either side of us will be up, and it's going to force the water into, and I think it's really bad for the street movement. If he will admit to it, when they built those houses where Holland School was, there was a lot of slipperies, and he had to keep filling it in the front, because it was slipping back. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen over here. That's why even up the street, they did build right to the sidewalk like the rest of the houses are up there. And I see no problem why he can't do that.
Why he
Bill?
didn't follow the aesthetic of the pre-existing neighborhood, and now he's saying that we're the problem.
I mean, they did it up the street. They got a beautiful house up there that's built right like ours is, right in line. There is a reason why they made these houses in this little block, like he said, the zoning like that. There is a reason for that. We're on a curb, which I anticipate a lot more if he puts a driveway in the front. Accidents right there, because you can't see around the curb.
It's already a very high pro
So-
area for accidents.
But up the street, they did beautiful houses on the right off the
Maintaining
thing.
the aesthetic of
And
the
I'm
neighborhood.
sure he's a great builder and he could do that. I mean, yeah, they'd have to park in the back. We all do, but that's that's the reason they put the zoning through these houses to begin with, so that the land wouldn't shift as much as it's shifting. We've already survived the water main breaks and everything else down here because of the shifting. Now, I feel like this could make it all shift even more.
And I believe the water main break was caused by the
Tiffany, could you turn
excess
the phone?
stress.
Could
Oh,
you,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do believe that the water main break was caused by extra stress from too much development and without any foresight.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to say about the application?
Not at this time, I do not.
It's just gonna have to be monitored very well
Very strictly.
if the zoning goes through, because it's just, I think it should stay the way it's zoned now. They did it up the street, so it's possible to do it down here.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Thank you both for your time, your testimony, and for Tiffany, for you working some technology magic for us there.
Oh, I thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Sure. Okay, Mr. Inman, I will give you a chance to respond to their comments in just a minute, but before that, why don't I go over to Ms. Ahouse and see if there's anything she'd like to add to the discussion here.
Yes, so we did prepare an extensive staff report that includes our full analysis, and we are recommending approval based on the standards of review. I can give a little clarification to the relief that's being requested. There are 2 items being requested today. They are both special exceptions from the zoning code. The first is to allow front yard parking, since there is a driveway and parking pad on Riverside Drive that does not lead to a permitted parking space either within a garage or to the side or rear of the building. The second is for the front yard averaging, and that is front yard averaging applies to both Riverside Drive and Callahan Street on this property because it does have those 2 street frontages. So Riverside Drive does not require relief. The average setback is 4.5 feet, and that's the minimum. So they're proposing to be set back more than the average, but that is permitted under the zoning code. Their proposed front yard setback is 26.2 feet. On Callahan Street, the average is 71 feet. So that's the required setback on what functions as the rear, and they proposed 37.9 feet. The average of a broader area, so that 71 feet is a larger setback than either of the existing buildings immediately to the east or west, because those buildings further west are set back further, and add to that averaging calculation. The side yard setbacks they proposed are actually exceed what's required, so they're setting it back further from the existing buildings than would be required from the code. They could, in theory, go wider and build the buildings closer to those existing historic buildings, but they are giving a little bit more space to maintain a little bit of a buffer from the existing historic buildings. Again, more so than required. So overall, this is really shifting the building towards Callahan Street, in part to accommodate the front yard parking requested by the potential buyer. When we look at the building depth, they proposed it is 68.2 feet. If they were compliant with both the front yard and rear yard setback, they could build a building of 63.5 feet. So really just a 5-foot difference, which is kind of the little bump outs they have on each. There's a little bump out of 3.2 feet on Riverside Drive and 2 feet towards Callahan. So generally the massing that they're proposing is pretty consistent with the averaging of the setbacks that the zoning code is asking for. They have just shifted that massing towards the rear of the site rather than towards the front. And I think this is a unique situation where Callahan Street functions more as an alley. There are no buildings that actually front on Callahan Street. It's public parking and mostly garage access or backyards. So if Callahan Street, was not a street, if it was an alley, or if it was just private property, we would apply the rear yard setbacks, which would give us a 20-foot required setback, which this proposal is compliant with. So the only relief needed would be that front yard parking. And this is a really, as everyone has discussed, this is a really unique context where there's multiple new homes to the east and west, but the 4 immediately adjacent homes are the historic homes with a different setback and streetscape appearance. There is existing front yard parking for multiple residences to the west. That is a different zoning code. But overall, when we looked at the evidence the applicant provided, they included extensive examples of similar development in the vicinity, both in terms of allowing front yard parking and similar setback differentials adjacent, where there was some partial view impacts. And what their property value analysis showed in their application materials is that there was no substantial impairment of property values of similar development in the vicinity with either front yard parking or the slight offset setbacks of buildings adjacent to each other. So when we looked at the entirety of the evidence provided in the application materials and the context, we did find that this meets the standards of review in terms of, for a special exception, consistency with the code and district purpose, no substantial impairment of property value, no undue adverse impact, and compliance with other standards. So that's why our staff report recommended approval.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Appreciate your testimony and your work on the staff report. Just to be clear though, based on your analysis, you did determine that this would have an impact on views from the adjacent properties. Is that right?
I think that that's hard to determine. It is, I don't have the dimension. It's offset in terms of the side yard setback. So it's, 6 feet or, in some places 10 feet from the property line. So it's hard to tell exactly what the angle would be from the views from the existing decks. I don't think there was really evidence provided either way. And I think what the applicant noted is that there are other projects where there were view impacts potentially based on similar conditions, and they did not impair our property values, that the property values actually still rose with the new construction.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Emily. Appreciate your work on the staff report here and your testimony. All right, we're going to go to back to Mr. Inman. Mr. Inman, if you want to unmute, now's an opportunity for you to respond to anything you've heard from Tiffany and Joan Powers and from Miss A House.
Well, number one, the impact on view, I'm not really sure that is in today's code. We have built other structures down here that have the setback has got partially into the view. I felt that we learned at that time from the city, no one's guaranteed a panoramic view. We cannot take the view away that's directly behind your property. It's not our intention to cause stress to these folks. It's just, things are changing right now down here. And I can promise both of the Powers that there will be no water situation that they're afraid of or anything that would damage their property. And I want to also add that one of the first builds that we did at River's Edge, which is west of 2459, that entire building is 75 feet off the road. That was our first build in River's Edge. And I think even that build had minimal effect on their view of the river. And when you look at the depth of their buildings, including their decks, I still think they're going to have adequate views. And once again, anytime we do infilling in the city, and we've done a fair amount of it, we always are respectful of the existing homes. I promise you that the situation of water runoff and or view is not an issue. And quite honestly, both of their property values have increased. I mean, I look at what they're valued on Hamilton County auditors. A lot of their size at this point in time is worth $250,000, and it was not worth anywhere near that 10 years ago. But once again, girls or ladies, we're not here to cause you harm. And we hope that we can work together on this situation.
Let me ask, because Ms. Ahouse made a reference to the massing being able to be maintained if it was moved forward more towards Riverside. Did you explore those options? And if so, can you tell me why it's not economically feasible for you to build a home that is more in compliance with setback on Callahan?
The biggest problem is, number one, the further we push the new home between the old homes, I think is adverse effect. And the biggest problem with, and what our clients are looking for, was 2 parking spots for elderly parents that are facing disabilities. And the question came up, why can't you go through the rear? And then, well, there's steps to deal with, and then there's an elevator. But the other problem is, and we've had this experience at River's Edge as well, where we have front parking, is when the river does come up, there's no accessibility for someone that is in a chair or someone that is on a walker. But at River's Edge, you have the front parking, so you can use the front door. We used to call this a 20-year flood. Well, we had a flood in 2018, and we had a flood April of this year, which would make the proposed build at 2459 not accessible for handicap. So the folks that we're building the house for, or hope to build the house for, it would be a deal breaker if they were not allowed to have these 2 parking spots in the front for their parents.
Sorry, and just to be clear, that is because if there is a flood, the rear will flood first and they won't be able to access the house in the same way.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that what you were saying just now?
Yeah.
Okay.
April 6th, we had, I think it went up to 61 feet. Well, that puts Callahan Street and part of Bayou Street underwater, and leaves, the building to be not accessible from the rear. So we had, this year in April, we had 19 new homes that are in the 2400 block. We had water in the garages, and so you cannot use the elevator, number one, for handicap accessibility. And we had water in every one of the garages in April that we had to do some major repairs. And I'm sure that, the Powers have lived there a long time and they're familiar with how the river can act, but high water in the rear would not allow handicap accessibility.
Okay. I think just one last question. Is the front yard, the proposed setback along Riverside, is that the shortest distance possible to achieve the front yard parking and the
Yes.
handicap accessibility?
Yeah, and working through this whole thing with Emily and her staff, yes, that is the minimal amount of front yard setback It's more than half of what we originally proposed. So yeah, it's at the minimal setback right now as proposed.
Okay.
And this
Okay.
is
So-
working with the plan examiner too, Weston.
Mhm.
This was a kind of something we put together with his suggestion and his drawings is a minimal way to get 2 parking places up front.
Okay, gotcha. All right, anything else, Mr. Inman, you would like to say about the project, either in closing or otherwise, before we adjourn here today?
No, I can't think of you, Angie. I can't think of anything else. But once again, I just want to reiterate that we are respectful to the neighborhood and the existing neighbors, and we will do our best to accommodate them if we do in fact get this variance.
Okay. All right, I think we will leave it at that then. I've got a few more things I'd like to review and go over some more of the application materials before I make a formal decision on this application. As soon as I do make a decision, I will put it in writing and email it to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you all have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. Regardless of whether this is approved or denied, there is an appeal period, which is 30 days after the decision is issued, where either side can appeal my decision. Information about how to appeal will be contained within the decision itself, but anyone can contact our office or the zoning department, and we can assist with that process if anyone is interested. I like to remind folks that oftentimes in these hearings, you will think of something you wish you would have said or a photo you wish you would have presented. Now that the hearing is closed, I can no longer take in any new evidence. So you do send me any additional testimony or evidence or photographs, I will not be able to consider them, and I won't when I'm making this decision. If you have questions about the procedure or where I'm at with my decision or a status update on the decision, I'm happy to provide that to you. But otherwise, I can't take in any new evidentiary type testimony. Okay, let's see. I said at the beginning that decisions typically take about 2 weeks. I think that is a realistic estimate, although I know that we have a holiday within the next 2 weeks. So if it's a little bit behind that, I would not be totally surprised. But again, if you just want to know, if you just want a status update, feel free to reach out to me and I'll let you know when I'm anticipating getting that out. Okay, are there any questions right now about anything today before we sign off?
Not at our end, no, thank you.
Okay. Joan, did
Is
you have something?
somebody, yeah, is somebody gonna come out and review? Because he was talking about the handicap. We also had a handicap person here for a while. And we had no problem with dropping them off in the front and getting them into the house. He was in a wheelchair for over a year and we had no problem dropping him off in
I got a
front.
hospital bed in and out with my dad on it when he was in hospice. It's actually easier from the street, from the Riverside.
Okay. Let me just be clear. Is there anything else that you would like to say from the powers? Anything else any other testimony? I'm happy to take that in since we still have some time here, and I'll give Mr. Inman an opportunity to respond, but is there anything else you'd like to tell me before we adjourn?
I just really feel like, I don't know why he keeps bringing up the fact that these new homes, that they look like this or that. That has nothing to do with this situation. He should have maintained the aesthetic of our neighborhood from the very beginning.
And if you go to the east side, all the way up, except for his homes, all the streets are still set on as they were. The houses maintain the other houses. They're on the street level. All the way up except for his houses, which, his houses are really pretty. I won't say they're not, they are. But there's more land over that way on that curve than there is sitting right next door to us. So if you go on out east, you will see all the houses and the new development up there is set on the same code that's going on now. I mean, that's, and I think that was for a reason. He was talking about floods. And that's going to happen again, just so he's warned this year. It's going to actually happen again. You can feel it. River people feel it. So that's what I'm really concerned about too, is the floodwaters getting pushed back into our places instead of continuing on down river.
Yes, because I've already noticed a new path that the river takes when it enters the soccer field. It's already changed directions.
Right.
So he's going to have to keep in count.
And I
of
think a
that.
lot of that has to do with the vegetation that's being removed along the riverbank to better the view.
And handicap can be accessible to their house. I mean, I do respect that.
Yes.
That I get where they're coming from, but you can still get into your house from the front. We've all done it down here
Yep.
for years. I mean,
My father was sick, dying of cancer, in and out of hospice. I was able to get his bed in and out very easily.
Okay. All right, thank you again, Mr. Inman. Mr. Inman gets the final word here since it's he has the burden of proof and it's his application. So Mr. Inman, if there's anything you want to say in response to that or in closing again, and then we'll leave it at that.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you all again for your time and your testimony. I have a lot to review here. I'll be doing that over the next few weeks, and when I have an official decision, I will send it to you all via email. Feel free to reach out again if you have any questions about procedure or timing on the decision. Otherwise, hope everyone has a great day, and we are adjourned.